Good morning, everyone. I'm Gary Liberatore. Cloudy skies this morning, and it won't be long before we're dealing with a wintry mix. Meteorologist Hannah Evans is tracking it all from the Weather Center so we can all plan our day ahead. Hey there, Hannah.
Hi, Gary. So yes, we are going to be seeing some snow start to develop late afternoon, early evening. It's going to turn widespread overnight, and then we will be seeing some mixing. So here is our updated snowfall forecast. This goes into effect this evening through tomorrow morning. We are looking at the most amount of snow to be north of the Mohawk Valley, 4 to 7 inches there, and then 2 to 4 for the rest of us, the Mohawk Valley and the southern valleys. All of us are going to be seeing some ice accumulation, but the most amount of ice is definitely possible east of Utica. That's where it looks like it could be the iciest. So this is going to be for all tonight through tomorrow morning. At this point, we are still dry on our Yorkville Battery, Storm Tracker 2, Doppler radar. So if you do have anything to do today, I would definitely recommend getting it done this morning or early afternoon before the snow starts to come in, which looks to be late afternoon, early evening. It does mix with ice overnight, and then we are going to be seeing hazardous travel overnight tonight and early tomorrow morning. So for today, expect dry conditions, cloudy skies, but then the snow comes in late afternoon, early evening. I will talk a little bit more about our alert day tomorrow coming up, Gary.
Hannah, thank you. National Grid is getting ready for the snow and ice. They're securing extra resources just in case there is damage to their power lines. If a power outage happens, make sure you have your utility company's emergency phone number handy. We also have a list of those on our website at WKTV.com. Also remember, never touch a down line. Keep working flashlights and extra batteries in your home. And now is the time to be charging your phone to make sure it is fully charged in case of an outage. And remember, the latest weather information always available at your fingertips at WKTV.com. Some very sad news.
The Oneonta Cam is brought to you by Mountain Ice Paint Gel.
Welcome back. The snow looks to start this afternoon, early evening. It starts to develop. So it is going to start to move in from the south to the north. So around 2 to 4 p.m. looks to come into the southern valleys. 3 to 5 p.m. for the rest of us. The Mohawk Valley looks like it is going to start seeing snow between hours of 3 and 5 p.m. and then areas to the north 4 to 6 p.m. So that looks like the start time of the snow for today. And once again, the heaviest snow is going to fall to the north, 4 to 7 inches of snow there, 2 to 4 inches for the Mohawk Valley and southern valleys. All of us are going to be seeing some icing and some ice accumulation tomorrow morning, so keep that in mind. But the most amount of ice looks to be east of Utica, so if you live over there, just be very careful. Could be seeing the most amount of ice accumulation over there. So travel impacts for today through tomorrow. It is going to be dry this morning. Late afternoon, that snow is going to start to develop. It does turn heavy tonight, and overnight we start to see some mixing in with some freezing rain and some sleet with ice accumulation tomorrow. So the trickiest of travel is going to be overnight and early tomorrow morning. Gary.
Thanks. The Supreme Court is hearing back-to-back
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Hannah Evans.
Good morning, everybody. We are starting out with dry conditions this morning, but snow looks to develop late afternoon, early evening. Let's take a look now at our Utica National Tower camera overlooking Main Street in Cooperstown. We are starting out with mostly cloudy skies, a little bit of a breeze as well. We see that flag blowing. But if you do have anything to do today, I would definitely recommend getting out this morning or early afternoon before some snow starts to develop, and that will be late afternoon, early evening. It does turn widespread and heavy tonight after dinner. Then it turns into a wintry mix with possibly some ice accumulation mixing in there as well, which really impacts the commute overnight tonight and tomorrow morning because icy conditions on the roads could be very hazardous. So that's why we did issue an alert day for tonight through tomorrow. So here's a look at our snowfall forecast. We have updated it since yesterday. It is looking like the most amount of snow is going to fall to the north, with the Mohawk Valley and the Southern Valley seeing 2 to 4 inches. We are lowering the totals a little bit. We see 2 to 4 inches, not really a lot, but our main concern is going to be ice mixing in there. So the ice looks to move in overnight tonight. All of us are going to be seeing ice accumulation, but the most significant ice is going to be possible east of Utica. So if you do live there, looks like the most amount of ice there, as we can see here on our ice accumulation forecast map, it is looking like the most amount of ice are going to be in the Mohawk Valley and east of Utica. But any ice at all is going to cause very slippery conditions on the roads with very hazardous travel overnight and early tomorrow morning. Because of this, the National Weather Service has issued a winter storm warning for Lewis County, and they have issued winter weather advisories for the rest of us due to the heavy snow that's going to be coming in, mixing with freezing rain and sleet, causing ice accumulation. So here's our Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Nothing yet, dry conditions. So once again, if you do have anything to do, get that done this morning or early afternoon, because this is a system that's going to be moving in. Looks to start out as heavy wet snow and then change over to a wintry mix with some ice mixing in there as well for early tomorrow morning. So let's take a look at it on our SkyCast. Dry conditions, cloudy skies. It is going to be a little bit breezy today. Around noon, we see temperatures around freezing, and a little bit afternoon we start to see that snow developing. It comes in from the south, so we'll start in the southern valleys first, and then it will move up north, turn widespread after dinner. Then overnight we see some mixing in there as well. The pink is freezing rain, so that could cause really hazardous conditions when traveling. This is 1:30 a.m. Thursday morning. Then we even just see some rain mixing in there as well, but all of this is going to cause slippery conditions on the roads. By 6 a.m. tomorrow we'll start to lighten up, and then we do clear out for the morning. Afternoon, we remain mostly dry, but then that cold front that follows does move through tomorrow around dinner. That brings another round of very light showers, and then it does dry out tomorrow night around 9 p.m. So for today, expect dry conditions up until late afternoon, early evening. We start to see some snow developing. It turns heavy and wet overnight, then mixes in with some freezing rain and some sleet. So that's why we issued an alert day for tomorrow, because it could be very hazardous to travel in this with ice accumulation. We dry out tomorrow afternoon and evening, and we are a lot cooler for Friday and Saturday as that cold front moves through. Gary.
Definitely welcome back winter.
Welcome back winter.
That's for sure. The time now 5:23, still ahead. It was one of the biggest modern day hour. I'm Gary Liberatore. It won't be long before we're dealing with a wintry mix once again. We're talking the works here, but right now we're just dealing with some cloudy skies. Meteorologist Hannah Evans is tracking it all from the Weather Center so you can better plan your day. Hey there, Hannah.
Hi, Gary. We are starting out dry this morning, cloudy skies. So if you do have anything to do, I would recommend getting it done this morning or early afternoon before some snow comes in. So here's a look at our snowfall forecast. We do have the most amount of snow falling to the north, 4 to 7 inches there, and the rest of us seeing 2 to 4 inches. That includes the Mohawk Valley and the southern valleys. All of us are going to be seeing possible ice accumulation, but it looks like the most amount of ice is possible east of Utica, and that will start late afternoon, early evening, and it will continue through tomorrow morning. Once again, we are dry now on our Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar, but things are going to change. The snow looks to develop late afternoon, early evening today. It does mix with some ice, freezing rain, sleet tonight. That could cause for really tricky travel tonight and tomorrow morning. And once again, the commute may be pretty hazardous then. We do dry out tomorrow afternoon, and we are going to be much cooler for Friday and Saturday. So for today, expect cloudy skies to start. That snow develops late afternoon, early evening. It turns heavy and wet tonight. I will talk a little bit more about our snowfall forecast and this alert day coming up, Gary.
Hannah, thanks. And don't forget the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes.
The Cooperstown Cam is brought to you by Utica National Insurance Group.
Welcome back. We are going to start to see some snow move in. It looks to be late afternoon, early evening. It's going to be coming in from the south. So around 2 to 4 p.m. it starts to come into the south of our viewing area. Then 3 to 5 p.m. for most of us, the Mohawk Valley and just north of the southern valleys. And then 4 to 6 p.m. for areas furthest north. So we are going to see some snow start to develop late afternoon, early evening, and it does turn widespread after dinner. So here's our snowfall forecast. Once again, we are expecting the most amount of snow north of the Mohawk Valley, 4 to 7 inches there, and 2 to 4 inches for the rest of us. All of us are going to be seeing some mixing and some ice, so it is going to be pretty icy stepping outside tomorrow morning, but the most amount of ice is definitely going to be possible east of Utica and in the eastern part of the Mohawk Valley. So heading out the door this morning is dry, and early afternoon should be dry as well. The snow starts to develop late afternoon, early evening, and the trickiest of travel is going to be tonight when we start to see heavy wet snow, and then tomorrow morning when we see that mixing with ice accumulation in there as well. Gary.
Hannah, thanks. We got our hands on a new study
New
showing
York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Hannah Evans.
Good morning, everybody. We are starting out dry with cloudy skies this morning, and snow looks to develop late afternoon, early evening. Let's take a look at our mountain ice tower camera overlooking Oneonta. Dry conditions, a little bit chilly to start with our temperatures in the 20s to low 30s. But if you do have anything to do today, I recommend getting it done this morning or early afternoon before that wet snow starts to move in. And that looks to start to move in late afternoon, early evening. But we do have issued an alert day for tonight through tomorrow. And that's due to the wet snow becoming widespread after dinner tonight. And that could be cause messy travel in and of itself. And then we are going to be seeing a wintry mixing in there as well, along with freezing rain and sleet, ice. That's going to mix in overnight and tomorrow morning, and that really impacts and causes very hazardous conditions for the morning commute tomorrow. So here's a look at our snowfall forecast. We are expecting the most amount of snow to fall north of the Mohawk Valley, 4 to 7 inches there, and 2 to 4 inches for the Mohawk Valley and the southern valleys. All of us are going to be seeing some ice accumulation. Looks to get pretty icy. That's why we issued an alert day. That's our main concern with very hazardous travel tonight and tomorrow morning. But the most amount of ice is definitely going to be possible in the eastern part of the Mohawk Valley. So here's a look at our ice accumulation map. It is looking like it is trending icier in the Mohawk Valley and east of Utica. So keep that in mind if you do live in these areas. A quarter of an inch of ice is a lot. It's going to be very, very hazardous to travel at this time, especially early tomorrow morning. But all of us are going to be seeing some type of ice. Because of this, the National Weather Service has issued a winter storm warning for Lewis County and then a winter weather advisory for the rest of us due to that heavy wet snow developing tonight and then turning into a mix with freezing rain and ice accumulation. But at this point, we are dry on our Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. It is going to turn a little bit breezy this afternoon once again, and here's what's coming in. It looks like heavy wet snow at first. That changes over to mixed precipitation with freezing rain and sleet, and even just some rain showers are possible throughout this event, especially south of the Mohawk Valley. So here in our skycast, we can see cloudy skies for this morning and early afternoon. Highs are going to be around freezing, and then that snow will start to develop late afternoon, early evening. It comes in from the south, and it does turn widespread after dinner. Then we are going to be seeing some mixing in there as well. This will be overnight into Thursday. This is 1:30 in the morning tomorrow. We see a lot of freezing rain on our skycast here, so that can cause ice accumulation, even just some rain south of the Mohawk Valley. And this looks to slowly come to an end pretty early tomorrow, around 7, 8 a.m. This ends, and we will be dry for the most of the day tomorrow with that cold front moving through that follows the system tomorrow around dinner time. So that's going to bring another round of a few showers, and that will cool us down for the next 2 days. So for today, expect cloudy skies to start. Snow develops late afternoon, early evening. It becomes widespread wet and heavy tonight, and then mixes in with some freezing rain and some sleet and some ice accumulation as well. So that's why we issued a Storm Tracker 2 alert day for tomorrow. It is going to be very hazardous travel, especially tonight and tomorrow morning, due to ice accumulation and heavy wet snow. We dry out pretty quickly tomorrow, and then we cool down for the next 2 days. Gary.
Hannah, thank you. If you're just waking up, we have the day's top headline. Cloudy skies this morning, and it won't be long before we're dealing with a wintry mix. Meteorologist Hannah Evans is tracking it all from the Weather Center so you can better plan your day. Hey there, Hannah.
Hi, Gary. We are going to start out dry this morning and early afternoon. So if you do have anything to do today, definitely get it done then, because late afternoon, early evening, the snow will start to develop. Here's a look at our snowfall forecast. The most amount of snow is going to fall north of the Mohawk Valley, 4 to 7 inches there. Then we do have 2 to 4 inches for the Mohawk Valley and south. And all of us are going to be seeing some ice accumulation, so it is going to be pretty slippery and hazardous to drive in, but especially east of Utica, that's where the most amount of ice is possible. So once again, we are starting out dry this morning on our Yorkville Battery, Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar, and we will be dry through the early afternoon before that snow looks to start to move in. It's going to be heavy and wet and turn widespread tonight. It's also going to start to mix with ice, freezing rain, sleet overnight, so it could cause very hazardous conditions for the commute overnight and tomorrow morning. So for today, expect cloudy skies and dry conditions through late afternoon. Then that snow will start to move in and develop, turning widespread after dinner. I will talk a little bit more about this and our alert day tomorrow coming up, Gary.
Anna, thanks. National Grid is getting ready for the snow and ice. They're securing extra resources just in case there is damage to their power lines. Now, if a power outage happens, make sure you have the utility company's emergency phone line handy. We do have a list of those on our website at WKTV.com. Also, remember, never touch a down line. Keep working flashlights and extra batteries in your home. And now is the time to be charging your phone to make sure it is fully charged in case of an outage. And remember, the latest weather information always available at your fingertips at WKTV.com. Some very sad news to report.
The Oneonta is brought to you by Mountain Ice Paint Gel.
Welcome back. The snow is going to start to move in late afternoon, early evening. It's going to be coming in from the south, so around 2 to 4 p.m. for most of the southern valleys, then 3 to 5 p.m. for most of the Mohawk Valley and the northern part of the southern valleys, and then 4 to 6 p.m. for the areas north of the Mohawk Valley. So we are going to start to see that snow develop. It becomes widespread after dinner. And here's our snowfall forecast. Once again, the most amount of snow is going to fall north of the Mohawk Valley with 2 to 4 inches for the rest of us. All of us are going to be seeing some ice accumulation, but it is going to be the heaviest, it looks like, in the eastern part of the Mohawk Valley. So definitely be very, very careful when driving around in this because it could be quite icy. So if you do have anything to do today, I would say this morning and early afternoon is going to be fine to do that. The snow looks to develop late afternoon, early evening, and it does become widespread tonight. It's going to be heavy and wet, so it could be even messy to travel tonight. Overnight, it does mix with some ice, so tomorrow morning probably going to be very hazardous for the commute. Gary.
Anna, thank you. The Supreme Court is hearing
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Hannah Evans.
Good morning, everybody. We are starting out dry with cloudy skies this morning, and snow looks to develop late afternoon, early evening. Let's take a look now at our Utica National Tower camera overlooking Main Street in Cooperstown. As we can see here, dry conditions and cloudy skies. So if we do have anything to do today, I definitely recommend getting it done this morning or early afternoon before that snow looks to come in. And we have issued an alert day for tonight through tomorrow afternoon. So we will see wet snow developing, moving in late afternoon, early evening, and it does become widespread and heavy after dinner. And then also turns over to a wintry mix, possibly seeing some ice accumulation, which really impacts tomorrow morning's commute. It could be really hazardous at this time. So here's a look at our snowfall forecast. The most amount of snow falling north of the Mohawk Valley, 4 to 7 inches there. And then we have 2 to 4 inches for the Mohawk Valley and for the southern valleys. All of us are going to be seeing some ice accumulation, so that's our main concern for this whole event. It is going to be pretty icy when commuting tomorrow morning, and that could be really dangerous. But the most amount of ice looks to be concentrated in the Mohawk Valley, and especially eastern Mohawk Valley and east of Utica. So here's a look at some of the ice accumulation maps that are auto-generated. It does look like, once again, the most amount of ice is going to be in the Mohawk Valley and eastern Mohawk Valley. All of us are going to be seeing ice though, so it's going to be slippery everywhere. But this is our main concern. Any ice over 0.1, 0.2 inches is a lot and could be very hazardous to travel in. Because of this, the National Weather Service has issued a winter storm warning for Lewis County and a winter weather advisory for the rest of us due to heavy wet snow coming in first and then changing over to a wintry mix with ice accumulation. But we are dry to start on our Yorkville Battery, Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. This is what's going to be moving in due to our next system. It's going to be heavy wet snow at first, then mixing with some sleet, freezing rain, and causing some ice accumulation overnight. So let's take a look on our skycast. Dry conditions, cloudy skies through this afternoon. It's going to be into the low 30s today for the high temperature. And then later in the afternoon, early evening, we start to see some snow move in. It comes in from the south first and then moves up widespread to areas north around dinner. We also then see some mixing coming in around 10, 11 p.m. We start to see some freezing rain coming in, and then overnight a lot of mixing. This is 1:30 a.m. tomorrow morning, seeing freezing rain for most of us at this time, and that could cause really icy conditions on the roads. Even just some rain is possible for areas south of the Mohawk Valley. Then by tomorrow morning around 7, 8 a.m. we do dry out. But the cold front that follows this system looks to move through tomorrow around dinner. That brings another round of very light showers. Shouldn't really have an issue on us after we did see all of this tonight and early tomorrow morning. So this just looks to be a few light showers moving through with that cold front. And that cold front really cools us down for Friday and Saturday. So for today, expect dry conditions through late afternoon. Then we see that snow start to come in. It turns widespread and heavy tonight, and it does mix in with some freezing rain and sleet overnight. So we have our alert day issued for tomorrow morning due to very hazardous travel for the morning commute, and we cool down and dry out for Friday. We'll be right back.
For this half hour, I'm Gary Liberatore. It won't be long before we're dealing with a wintry mix once again. We're talking the works here. Right now, we are just dealing with some cloudy skies, though. Meteorologist Hannah Evans is tracking it all from the Weather Center this morning. Good morning to you, Hannah.
Good morning, Gary. We are starting out dry this morning, but snow is going to start to develop late afternoon, early evening. So our snowfall forecast has 4 to 7 inches, the most amount of snow north of the Mohawk Valley, and 2 to 4 inches for the rest of us. All of us are going to be seeing some ice accumulation, but the most amount of ice looks to fall in the eastern part of the Mohawk Valley, which could cause conditions to turn very, very hazardous tonight and tomorrow morning. So if you do have anything to do today, I would definitely recommend getting it done this morning or early afternoon. We are dry at that point, and this is our York Full Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar, but snow looks to develop late afternoon, early evening. It's going to be heavy and wet type of snow. It does turn widespread tonight, and then it mixes with freezing rain, sleet, and ice as well. And then the commute tomorrow is going to be pretty hazardous because we are going to be seeing some ice accumulation. So for today, expect cloudy skies, dry conditions. Snow develops late afternoon, early evening. It becomes widespread tonight. I will talk a little bit more about our alert day and the snowfall coming up, Gary.
Hannah, thanks. And don't forget the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away. Well, Friday will mark a full year since Russian troops invaded.
The Cooperstown Camp is brought to you by Utica National Insurance Group.
Welcome back. Snow looks to start to develop late afternoon, early evening. So around 2 to 4 p.m. is starting to come in from the south. It will be here around 3 to 5 p.m. for most of us, and then 4 to 6 p.m. a little bit later for areas north of the Mohawk Valley. And at this point, it looks like the heaviest of snow is going to fall north. We have 4 to 7 inches for the North Country, and then 2 to 4 inches for the rest of us. Now, throughout this whole event, all of us are going to be seeing some ice mixing in overnight, but the most amount of ice looks to fall in the Mohawk Valley, and especially the eastern part of the Mohawk Valley east of Utica. So be careful for really hazardous conditions driving overnight tonight and early tomorrow morning. So once again, travel impacts for today. This morning, early afternoon should be dry. The snow looks to develop late afternoon, early evening, and tonight it is going to turn widespread. It's going to be wet and heavy, mixing with freezing rain and sleet, which could cause ice accumulation overnight and early tomorrow morning, which could be the most hazardous time to commute. Gary.
Hannah, thank you. We got our hands on a brand new study showing that physical activity.
Central New York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Hannah Evans.
Good morning, everybody. We are starting out cloudy this morning and dry, but we are going to start to see some snow develop late afternoon, early evening. Let's take a look at our mountain ice tower camera overlooking Oneonta. Dry conditions with cloudy skies to start, so if you do have anything to do today, I definitely recommend getting that done this morning or early afternoon before the snow starts to move in. And we do have that snow moving in late afternoon, early evening, and it's going to be heavy and wet and turn widespread after dinner tonight. So we do have an alert day in effect for tonight through tomorrow afternoon. It does turn over to a wintry mix with some ice accumulation overnight, which could cause for really hazardous commute conditions for tomorrow morning. So here's a look at our snowfall forecast. We have the most amount of snow falling north of the Mohawk Valley, 4 to 7 inches there, and 2 to 4 inches for the Mohawk Valley and southern valleys. Now, all of us are going to be seeing ice accumulation from this event as it does mix with freezing rain and sleet, but the most amount of ice is going to be possible in the Mohawk Valley, especially east of Utica. So here's a look at some of our ice accumulation forecasts that are auto-generated by some of our computer models. This model does show the heaviest of ice accumulation falling in the Mohawk Valley and to the east of Utica. The rest of us still seeing ice accumulation, so any ice at all is going to cause very slippery conditions on the roads. But this amount of ice here in the Mohawk Valley and eastern Mohawk Valley, that's going to be very, very hazardous to drive in. So that's our main concern for this alert day coming in. And we are dry right now on our Yorkville Battery, Storm Tracker 2, Doppler radar, with that snow looking to develop late afternoon, early evening, mixing with freezing rain and sleet overnight into tomorrow morning, which could cause really tricky travel issues overnight and tomorrow morning. So Nala and her neighbor today, not too happy about that. Sticks looks like he's mad. He's yelling at the TV out the window, but we are going to be dry to start. Just make sure you get all your stuff done before that snow looks to develop, which will be late afternoon, early evening. It's going to be heavy and it's going to be wet. So on our skycast here, we see cloudy skies. Temperatures reach right around freezing for the high today. Then we see some snow coming in. It moves in south to north, and it looks to start late afternoon, early evening, and it looks to turn widespread by 9 p.m. tonight. We will be seeing some mixing develop as well, with freezing rain and sleet coming in overnight. This is 1:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. At this point, a lot of us seeing freezing rain that could cause really icy conditions, especially for the commute tomorrow. But this does cool down pretty quickly around 7, 8 a.m. It does look to dry out for a little bit. And temperatures tomorrow will be right around freezing with cloudy skies for the rest of the day. But then tomorrow evening, another round of light showers are possible to move through. That's due to the cold front that is following this system. So for today, expect dry conditions, cloudy skies to start. Widespread snow comes in later tonight, and it will turn into a wintry mix with freezing rain and sleet, possibly some ice accumulation overnight. That's why we issued an alert day for tomorrow due to very hazardous travel for the morning commute. We dry out tomorrow evening, and we are a lot cooler for Friday and Saturday. Gary.
Hannah, thanks. The long pause on
From where the news comes first, this is News Channel 2 at 7 a.m. on CW11.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us here on the CW11. I'm Gary Libitor. Cloudy skies this morning, and it won't be long before we're dealing with a wintry mix. Meteorologist Hannah Evans is tracking it all from the Weather Center so you can plan your day ahead. Good morning to you, Hannah.
Good morning, Gary. We are starting out dry with cloudy skies this morning, and snow looks to develop late afternoon, early evening. So here's a look at our snowfall forecast. We are looking at 4 to 7 inches for north of the Mohawk Valley and 2 to 4 inches of snow for the rest of us. But all of us are going to be seeing ice throughout this event, with the most amount of ice possible in the Mohawk Valley, especially east of Utica. So that is going to occur this evening and overnight. So if you do have anything to do today, definitely recommend getting that done this morning or early afternoon because we will be dry. This is our Yorkville Battery, Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. So snow moves in late afternoon, early evening, and it does mix with freezing rain and sleet overnight and tomorrow morning, which could cause really hazardous conditions for the morning commute tomorrow. So for today, just expect dry conditions throughout the early afternoon. Then snow develops early evening, and it does turn widespread after dinner. I will talk a little bit more about this coming up, Gary.
Thanks. National Grid is getting ready for the snow and ice. They're securing extra resources just in case there is damage to their power lines Now, if a power outage does take place, make sure you have your utility company's emergency phone number handy, and we do have a list of those for you on our website at WKTV.com. Also, remember, never touch a downed power line. Keep working flashlights and extra batteries in your home, and now is the time to be charging your phone to make sure it is fully charged just in case there is an outage. And remember, the latest weather information is always available at your fingertips at WKTV.com. Some very sad news to report.
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Hannah Evans.
Good morning, everybody. We are starting out dry with cloudy skies this morning, but snow develops late morning, early afternoon, or late afternoon, early evening. So let's take a look now at our Utica National Tower camera overlooking Main Street in Cooperstown. If you do have anything to do this morning, I would definitely recommend getting it done now or early afternoon before the snow starts to come in, which looks to be late afternoon, early evening. And it is going to be a heavy wet snow mixing with some wintry mix. That's why we issued a Storm Tracker 2 alert day. We see heavy wet snow develop this evening. It turns widespread tonight and mixes with some ice, freezing rain and sleet overnight, which really impacts the morning commute tomorrow. It could be very hazardous with ice accumulation. So here's our snowfall forecast. We have the most amount of snow up north, 4 to 7 inches there, then 2 to 4 inches for the rest of us. All of us are going to be seeing some ice accumulation, but the most amount of ice is expected to fall in the Mohawk Valley and especially the eastern part of the Mohawk Valley. So here's a look at one of our models which shows expected ice accumulation. So as we can see here, the most amount of ice, Mohawk Valley and east of Utica, but all of us are going to be seeing ice. So anything over 0.1 inches of ice is a lot and enough to cause icy conditions. So as we can see, the areas in the Mohawk Valley with a 1/4 inch of ice could be very, very hazardous to travel in tomorrow morning. So at this point, we are still dry on our Yorkville Battery, Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar, but we are going to start to see some snow develop late afternoon, early evening. It's going to be a heavy wet snow, and then that mixes in with freezing rain and sleet overnight into early tomorrow morning, which could cause ice accumulation. So for this morning, dry conditions with cloudy skies. It gets a little bit breezy, and this afternoon we start to see some snow moving in from south to north. It becomes widespread after dinner and then starts mixing tonight around midnight. As we can see here, 1:30 in the morning tomorrow. A lot of us are seeing freezing rain at this point, which could cause ice accumulation, causing very hazardous travel conditions tomorrow. But it ends pretty quickly. Around 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, we will be mostly dry, and we will be dry for the rest of the day with the exception of tomorrow evening because that system moved through, but the cold front didn't move through yet. So when the cold front moves through tomorrow evening, that could bring in another round of light showers. So for the rest of today, we are going to be dry until later this evening. Then snow comes in, it mixes overnight and causes very icy conditions for the commute tomorrow. So that is why we issued a Storm Tracker 2 alert day.
Thank you for joining us. Get ready for that winter to make its return. A very wintry mix is just hours away, and some spots could see a significant snowfall. Meteorologist Hannah Evans is tracking it all from the Weather Center. Hannah, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Gary. At this point, we are still dry, but we are about an hour or two away to start seeing snow move into the Mohawk Valley. So here's a look now at our Yorkville Battery, Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. I did want to explain that although it looks like there's snow on the radar, this is all what's called virga. It is falling into the higher atmosphere, so the radar is picking it up, but it is evaporating before hitting the ground. The real start of the snow, it looks to be right here in this area. So once this starts to move in, that will move into our area and it will be coming from the southwest. Once again, here's the start time of snow around 2 to 4 p.m. for areas south, 3 to 5 p.m. for the rest of us, and a little bit later for areas north. So snow moves in later this afternoon, early evening. It does start to mix with some ice tonight, but it will be wet and heavy at first before it does that. But with this ice mixture and the wet, heavy snow, it's going to be very hazardous to commute tonight and tomorrow morning. So that's why we did issue an alert day. So for today, expect snow to start within the next hour or so. It is going to turn heavy and wet and then mix with ice overnight. I will talk a little bit more about this coming up, Gary.
Hannah, thank you. National Grid is getting ready for the snow and ice. They are securing extra resources just in case there is damage to any power lines. And if a power outage does take place, make sure you have your utility company's emergency phone number handy. We do have a list of those numbers on our website, WKTV.com. Also, remember, never touch a downed line. Keep working flashlights and extra batteries in your home, and now is the time to be charging your phone to make sure that it is fully charged in case you do have an outage. And remember, the latest weather information always available at your fingertips at WKTV.com. And this latest winter storm system is huge and is slamming much of the country. Nearly 34 million people are under winter alerts, with blizzard warnings issued for parts of the Rockies, Northern Plains, and upper Midwest. Cities from California to Maine are being impacted. NBC's Gabe Gutierrez has more.
This morning, the National Weather Service is warning that a historic winter storm is on the move, already pummeling Minnesota with what could end up being 2 feet of snow. A governor here issuing emergency executive orders to prepare the National Guard.
We don't overreact, but we also understand that weather can be dangerous.
The winter blast marching across the country, from Washington State in Idaho to North Dakota, where icy, treacherous roads snarled semis. In Colorado and Wyoming, whiteout conditions. At least 27 states on their winter weather alerts. Even in the Twin Cities, a region used to wicked weather, this snowfall could be among the top 5 largest ever.
We are preparing for what will likely be an historic snow event.
It all comes during a wild week of weather extremes. Overnight, hundreds of thousands without power in California, as heavy wind gusts topping 60 miles per hour caused significant damage. A 1-year-old critically injured in Santa Cruz after being pinned down by a redwood tree inside the family's home.
It was a big team effort and everyone did the best they could.
Meanwhile, a New Jersey neighborhood is cleaning up debris this morning after a possible tornado. Now, as airports coast to coast prepare for widespread delays and cancellations, the upper Midwest is bracing for a blizzard.
NBC's Gabe Gutierrez reporting, and remember again, for all of the latest up-to-date weather information right here in our area, just head to WKTV.com. Well, some very sad news to report out of...
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Hannah Evans.
Good afternoon, everybody. We are starting out dry still at this point with just a few snow flurries starting, but the heavier snow doesn't look to start coming in until around 1 or 2 p.m. So let's take a look now at our Utica National Tower camera overlooking Main Street in Cooperstown. As we can see here, cloudy skies, a few snow flurries in the air, and it is starting to get a little bit breezy. We see that flag blowing just a little bit. So once again, a reminder that tonight through tomorrow is a Storm Tracker 2 alert day. We start to see wet, heavy snow developing this afternoon, and it will turn widespread tonight. It then also mixes with freezing rain and sleet, causing ice accumulation overnight into early tomorrow morning. So it's going to impact tonight's evening commute and tomorrow's morning commute. That's why we did issue an alert day. So here's a look at our snowfall forecast. The most amount of snow looks to fall north, 4 to 7 inches, where there will be less mixing, with the Mohawk Valley and the Southern Valley seeing 2 to 4 inches with more mixing and less snowfall. All of us are going to be seeing some ice accumulation, though, which is going to cause very slippery conditions on the roads. So definitely be careful this evening and tomorrow morning. The areas are highlighted here. So in the Mohawk Valley and the eastern part of the Mohawk Valley, that's where the most amount of ice looks to fall. So here is one of our ice accumulation forecasts. This is auto-generated by one of our models. Once again, the heaviest of ice does look to fall in the Mohawk Valley and the eastern part of the Mohawk Valley, but ice is going to be widespread. All of us are going to be seeing ice during this event, and the ice looks to mix in tonight into tomorrow morning. So right now, here is our Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. We are just seeing a few snow flurries. This right here is what's called Virga. It is picking up on the radar from areas highest up in the atmosphere, but it is evaporating before it reaches the ground. So let's see if I can do this here. As we can see here, I'll show you, this is the part right here. That's where that snow is looking to come in. So that will start to come in within the next hour or two. The real snow, significant snow, is starting to our south. And here is our radar showing that, once again, these are just flurries. The real snow is looking to start right here. The heaviest of snow is going to be in the blue. That looks looks to be this evening and tonight, and it does start to mix with freezing rain and sleet. As we can see, the pink and purple there, that will be overnight. So Nala and her neighbor not too happy about that. Sticks is yelling out the window. He's a little bit upset, but we are going to see some snow developing here at noon, and the evening commute may be really tricky with heavy wet snow. So on our Skycast, we see that snow is going to start to develop within the next hour or so. It looks to turn widespread just after dinner time. It's going to be heaviest around dinner and a little bit after. Then overnight we will start to see it mix. Here's some freezing rain and sleet coming in. This is 2 a.m. early tomorrow morning, so it could be very, very slippery for the morning commute tomorrow. But it does dry out pretty quickly. We dry it around 7, 8 a.m. And we look to remain dry for the rest of the day with a few snow flurries. But then the cold front associated with this system moves through tomorrow around dinner. That brings in a few more light showers before fully coming to an end. So for today, expect snow starting to develop within the next couple of hours. Then we will be seeing heavy wet snow tonight, mixing with freezing rain and sleet. So we have our alert day issued for tonight through tomorrow morning due to ice accumulation, possible heavy wet snow causing really tricky travel issues for this evening and tomorrow morning's commute. Gary.
Be careful out there tonight.
Yes, tonight and tomorrow morning.
That's for sure. Hannah, thank you. We now turn to East Palestine, Ohio. And weather in this half hour. Once again, here is meteorologist Hannah Evans standing by for us in the Weather Center.
We are tracking just a few snow flurries starting out now with the significant snow looking to come in within the next hour or so. So let's take a look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. This may look like a lot of snow on our radar, but at this point, this is called Virga. It is being measured by the radar up in the atmosphere, and it is evaporating before it hits the ground. If anything, we are seeing a few snow flurries in our area now, and the significant snow looks to start right here. As we see this line here, that's where the snow actually looks to come in. So the start time of this looks to be around 2 to 4 p.m. for the southern valleys, 3 to 5 p.m. for the Mohawk Valley, and including Cooperstown, Hamilton, and a little bit later for areas north. So we are going to start to see some snow moving in within the next hour or two. It does turn wet and heavy, then overnight mixes with freezing rain and sleet, causing ice accumulation, which all causes very tricky travel tonight and for the morning commute tomorrow. So for the rest of the day, expect snow to develop. It will turn wet and heavy this evening, mixing with a wintry mix tonight. And I will talk a little bit more about this coming up, Gary.
Hannah, thank you. The public school district in Uvalde, Texas.
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Hannah Evans.
Good afternoon, everybody. We are starting to see a few snow flurries now, but the significant snow looks to come in between 1 and 2 p.m. So let's take a look now at our Utica National Tower camera overlooking Main Street in Cooperstown. Cloudy skies, getting a little bit breezy, and we can see snow flurries, but the wet, heavy snow looks to develop coming in from the south within the next hour. So we do have our alert day for tonight through tomorrow due to this wet, heavy snow. It's going to be pretty messy in and of itself, and then a mixes in there with it. Freezing rain, sleet, possibly some ice accumulation overnight and for early tomorrow morning. And this definitely impacts the commute tomorrow morning and the commute this evening. So it is going to be pretty messy on the roads. Here's our snowfall forecast. We are expecting 4 to 7 inches in the north. That is areas where they will be seeing more snow and less mixing. And 2 to 4 inches for the Mohawk Valley and south. All of us are going to be seeing some ice accumulation, which could be a little bit slippery and hazardous on the roads, but specifically the Mohawk Valley and east of Utica is going to be seeing the most amount of ice. We can see here on one of our auto-generated models, it is showing the highest ice accumulations in the Mohawk Valley, Utica, Herkimer, and east of Utica, as we can see here, but all of us are going to be seeing some ice early tomorrow morning. Here is our Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. It looks like it is snowing now, but we're just seeing snow flurries. This is called Virga. It is happening high up in the atmosphere. That the radar is measuring it, but it's evaporating before it reaches the ground. So let's see if I can do this here. This is the area where the snow is going to start coming in. It's coming in right around Binghamton at this point. So anywhere below that line, that is the significant snow. So that will start to come in within the next hour or two, and it will be widespread for us around dinner. Once again, it will turn widespread and heavy after dinner, and then it does start mixing tonight around 9-10 p.m. with icy conditions definitely possible for the commute tomorrow. So on our Skycast here, we can see the snow starting to move in within the next couple of hours. It does turn widespread around dinner, and then mixing starting to come in later on. This is 2 a.m. tomorrow as we see a lot of freezing rain here. This is going to cause significant ice accumulation, especially in the Mohawk Valley, but it ends pretty quickly. Tomorrow morning we will dry out and we will remain dry for the day tomorrow, but that cold front associated with the system has not moved through yet. It looks to move through around dinner time tomorrow. That may bring in a few lighter showers, but it will dry out pretty quickly. It will just really cool us down for Friday and Saturday. So for this afternoon, snow will start to develop and becomes wet and heavy this evening and mixes with freezing rain and sleet overnight. So we have our storm tracker 2 alert day for tonight through tomorrow due to tricky travel on the commute, especially this evening and tomorrow morning as ice accumulation is possible. We cool down as we head into Friday and Saturday. Gary.
Hannah, thank you. Brand new this noon, a local high.
Kristen has the night off. A severe winter storm making its way across the country, and it isn't expected to miss us for a change. An alert day is in effect now until tomorrow at noon. To give you a better understanding of how this storm's going to impact all of us, we're going to get you right over to the Weather Center. Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis tracking an alert day today. Bill, good evening.
Yeah, this is a pretty standard storm for us. No records are expected to be broken, but if you're traveling this evening, the roads are going to be slippery. Right now, things are okay, but that's going to change over the next few hours. We're not expecting any blockbuster snowfall totals here, but a lot of us will pick up at least enough snow to shovel and maybe plow, especially north. No big changes to the snowfall map over the past 24 hours, although the numbers are slightly higher, 3 to 5 inches instead of 2 to 4 inches. And we're also keeping an eye on some sleet freezing rain. That's a concern for the eastern Mohawk Valley. We'll talk more about that throughout the newscast. Snow is starting to break out across the area. A live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Current temperature is 31 degrees. Our weather headlines. Again, snow becomes heavier as we head throughout the course of this evening and early tonight before it turns over to sleet and freezing rain. The weather improves tomorrow. In fact, the mornings should be dry, but there will be some residual issues with some icing on some of the secondary roads. Snow this evening, temperatures in the 20s. We are timing out this storm. We'll let you know when the snow comes to an end and when it turns over to sleet and freezing rain coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. Here at home, National Grid is getting ready for the snow and ice. They're securing extra resources just in case there is damage to their power lines. Now, if a power outage does happen, make sure you have your utility company's emergency phone line handy. We have a list at WKTV.com. Also, remember, never touch a down power line. Keep working flashlights and extra batteries in your home. And now is the time to be charging your phone to make sure it's fully charged in case of an outage. Remember, the latest weather information always at your fingertips at WKTV.com. This latest winter storm system is huge and is slamming much of the country. Nearly 34 million people are under winter alerts, with blizzard warnings issued for parts of the Rockies, Northern Plains, and Upper Midwest. States from California all the way to Maine are going to be impacted. NBC's Gabe Gutierrez is in Minneapolis, where that city could see its biggest snowstorm in more than a decade.
Here in Minneapolis, we've already seen the first wave of snow that dumped several inches here overnight, but a second wave is expected later today, and the National Weather Service is warning that could make travel impossible throughout much of Minnesota. But we're already seeing travel impacts around the country. Cancellations are mounting really coast to coast as the ripple effect of this winter storm really spreads across the country. In California overnight, some very high winds knocked out power to hundreds of thousands of people, and we're already seeing treacherous, icy road conditions in places like Montana, North Dakota. Incredibly, though, near record high temperatures in parts of the South, extending all the way to the East Coast. But here in the Twin Cities, a potentially dangerous situation. The governor here has issued executive emergency orders to put the National Guard on standby, and Minneapolis could see its largest snowfall in more than a decade, potentially one of its top 5 snowfalls ever. Gabe Gutierrez, NBC News, Minneapolis.
Here at home, a Utica man is facing charges after police received complaints about.
Good evening. We are continuing to track widespread snow moving into central New York this evening. The roads are going to turns slippery. Let's take a live look outside. This is our mountain ice Oneonta camera. Visibility has been reduced because of the falling snow. Nothing too crazy here this evening, but if you are going to be driving after dark, plan on a slippery drive. Snowfall rates will increase as we head throughout the course of this evening. So what we're seeing now is kind of the leading edge of this. The snow is going to pick up here as we head into the next several hours. This is a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Again, this snow just starting to work in to many areas, and again, we'll see the snow pick up in intensity as we head throughout this evening and tonight. The highest snowfall rates look to arrive between about 7 to 11 p.m. We'll be averaging about 1 inch per hour during that time period. Here's how the snow impacts the drive. Again, this evening it becomes more and more tricky to travel on the roadways as the snow accumulates. Tonight, snow turns over to ice. Sleet, freezing rain makes travel very slippery overnight. But by tomorrow morning and the afternoon, the weather does dry out, so conditions will improve very slowly as we head throughout the day. This storm system is approaching from the west. This is an area of low pressure, and this will move across central New York. It's not a very long system. It's not going to be around for very long, but again, it is going to bring us some snow accumulation as well as some ice. 3 to 5 inches of snow expected for most of the area, including the Mohawk and Southern Valleys. North of the valley, the snow will have a higher fluff factor, so that could produce as much as 5 to 8 inches of snow. The very northern part of the area, this is for just north of Old Forge up towards Inlet, 8 to 12 inches possible. Again, that's mostly into the Adirondacks. I also highlighted this area east of Utica, some possible significant icing. That would be more than 1/4 of an inch of ice accumulates here overnight. Here's how things play out. Again, the snow continues to become heavier this evening. Temperatures will remain below freezing. By 10 p.m., the sleet starts to work in from the south across the Southern Valley, so that's when we start to see the changeover locally, and this will move across the entire area closer to midnight. By tomorrow morning, it's over. 7 a.m., looking at cloudy skies, temperatures below freezing. It will generally stay below freezing throughout the day with things winding down here, at least during the daylight hours. Some ice accumulation too. Again, some sleet, freezing rain, especially east of Utica. In the Mohawk Valley, there could be enough ice to accumulate on some trees, and again, you're going to watch out on untreated surfaces first thing tomorrow morning. Snow and ice tonight, low of 30. Tomorrow, we do get a chance to dry out. We will have a few rain and snow showers late in the day, a high of 35. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. It's windy and cold on Friday, an early high of 20, and then some light snow chances here for Saturday and Sunday. We're above freezing as we head into Monday. Rain and snow showers return on Tuesday. So again, some tricky travel here in the evening, and then things start to quiet down first thing tomorrow morning. Jason, back to you.
All right, Bill, thank you. Before heading back to Washington today, President Biden. All right, let's get you right over the Weather Center. Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis continues to track an alert day.
Yeah, snow is going to move into the region as we head into this evening. Roadways will be slippery tonight as the snow turns over to sleet and freezing rain. So far, the snow has been falling generally light, but that will be picking up over the next couple of hours. I wanted to address the power issue concern. We're not expecting very strong winds with this event, but so the risk for power outages, well, it's not zero, but it's not high. We'll continue to keep an eye on things. The stickiness factor to the snow does play a role here, but I don't. At this point, snowfall totals don't look to be high enough to cause any big issues. Never hurts to be prepared for it anyway. We're tracking some snow this evening. Roads are going to become slippery. Again, this does turn over to sleet and freezing rain tonight. We're taking a look at how the morning commute shapes up, and that's coming up. Jason, back to you.
All right, Bill, thank you. Today is Ash Wednesday.
Snow continues to move into central New York this evening. Let's take a live look outside. This is our Utica National Tower cam overlooking Cooperstown. Snow is covering the roadways, and driving conditions will be slippery and will become slipperier as we head into this evening. It's a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Widespread snow continues to move in from the southwest. This type of snow is very wet, which means even a small amount is going to make things very slippery. We're also noticing the leading edge of the changeover from snow to sleet. There is an ability for us to see this through an enhancement to the radar. This is called dual pol, where we look at the precipitation particles themselves. And this indicates the leading edge of where snow is starting to turn over to sleet and freezing rain. So right now it's just starting to work in to the southern tier. We'll be keeping a very close eye on that as we head into this evening as this storm system lifts to the north. Traveling will be most impacted this evening as well as tonight as snow turns over to sleet and freezing rain. If you're driving tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon, it's expected to be dry. We'll have some residual slippery spots, especially on untreated surfaces, but overall the weather will be improving throughout the day tomorrow. Low pressure continues to work in from the west. This system is not just a snowmaker. As warm air works in from the south, we'll see that changeover take place here heading into tonight. Before that changeover, most of us pick up a couple of inches of snow. Many of us somewhere between about 3 to 5 inches. North of the Mohawk Valley, where the changeover takes a little bit longer, 5 to 8 inches of snow is expected. There will also be a pocket of ice accumulation in the eastern Mohawk Valley, where there will be enough ice to notice on trees, and ice accumulation about a quarter of an inch is expected. Storm Tracker 2 Skycast, again, snow continues to break out as we head throughout the course of this evening. The heavier snow taking place between about now to about 10 p.m. And then after that, we'll see that changeover to sleet and freezing rain. Things wind down tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., looking at, again, dry weather. Most of the day tomorrow does look dry. We'll keep an eye on some rain and snow showers heading into the area as we head later into the day. Some ice accumulation overnight, again, especially east of Utica, the Mohawk Valley, picking up about a quarter of an inch of ice here heading into tomorrow morning. A mix of snow changing over to ice tonight, low of 30. Tomorrow will dry out. Some rain and snow showers later in the day, a high of 35. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. It's windy and it's much colder on Friday, an early high of 20. We're near zero Friday night, and then more standard temperatures, more seasonable temperatures here over the weekend. 24 on Saturday, 32 on Sunday. Some light snow chances both days. Monday's looking dry. Rain and snow showers return on Tuesday. We'll be right back.
Is off tonight with that severe weather sweeping the nation. An alert day in effect from now until noon tomorrow. Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis with what to expect throughout the evening, tracking that snow in an alert day. Bill, good evening.
Yeah, we just want folks to be aware that the snow is going to be picking up as we head throughout this evening. Let's take a look at the snowfall forecast. This is not a blockbuster storm by any means. Most of us only pick up a couple of inches before this changes over to sleet and freezing rain. There will be some sleet and freezing rain accumulation taking place tonight too, so the roads will be pretty slippery. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Snow will continue to pick up in intensity. We're noticing bands to the south producing about a half an inch per hour, but it's already starting to turn over to freezing rain in areas like Binghamton and the southern tier. So there is a cap as to how much snow we'll be able to pick up with this as it moves in from the south. But again, while this moves in, it will be coming down pretty hard at times. Current temperature is 29 degrees, light snow. Again, that snow becomes heavier throughout the course of this evening, and then it turns over to sleet and freezing rain tonight. This system is gone by tomorrow morning, and we'll see big time improvements in our weather. I think the morning commute will be a lot better than if you're trying to head out this evening. Again, this evening, snow will be picking up. Temperatures in the upper 20s to low 30s. We are tracking the impacts on the drive both tonight as well as tomorrow morning. Look at that forecast is coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. National Grid getting ready for the snow and ice. They're securing extra resources just in case there is damage to power lines. Bill saying it's not likely, but they're ready just in case. If a power outage does happen, though, please make sure you have your utility company's emergency phone line handy so you can report it. We have a list for you at WKTV.com. We want you also to remember, don't touch a downed power line. It sounds like simple, but just please remember. And keep a working flashlight and extra batteries in your home. Now's the time to make sure your phone's charged as well, just in case of an outage. And remember the latest weather information ready at your fingertips, either WKTV.com or our weather app. A Utica man facing charges tonight after police teams already played their quarterfinal matchups. The snow is well underway in most of the viewing area. Hearing of several accidents on the scanners tonight. So if you're out and about, do take your time if you do have to go out tonight. City of Utica, by the way, has just issued a snow emergency in effect right now. That means all cars have to be off the streets in order for snowplows to take care of the snow removal. It's in effect until further notice. Let's check in right now with Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis. Here's the very latest on the track of this storm. Bill.
Yeah, and this storm continues to move across central New York. We're seeing this transition already over to sleet in areas south of the Mohawk Valley. This is a look at the snowfall numbers. Made some tweaks here just based on the changeover taking place. Most of us from the Mohawk Valley and Southern Valleys are going to be done with snow. If not now, then shortly over the next hour or two, as we're seeing that changeover. But it will take longer north of the Mohawk Valley to turn over to snow. North Country expecting about 4 to 7 inches of accumulation by tomorrow morning. Here's a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. And the dividing line between snow and sleet is right about here. So it's just north of the Route 20 line. Again, we're looking at some sleet starting to mix in. Roadways will continue to be slippery as we take a look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Current temperature is 30 degrees. Our weather headlines, again, over to sleet tonight. And some freezing rain too, the roads will remain slippery overnight, and we will see some improving weather as we head into tomorrow. Again, tonight, looking at the transition over to sleet and freezing rain, overnight lows around 30. The weather improves as we head into tomorrow. Look at that forecast is coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. Now, we've seen what it looks like on the radar, but how are the conditions for the next several hours outside? Meteorologist Eric Gage is in the elements with an update on the snowfalls and a lesson for accurately measuring the snow in your own backyard. Eric, good evening.
Good evening, Jason. Yes, I'm currently outside right now, and just taking a look right now, the snow isn't coming down too bad. Still, generally speaking, some light snow right now. In fact, I'll take a measurement on exactly what we're seeing right now. So far, we're measuring. One second, I'm getting a lot of feedback right now. Just taking a quick measurement right here. We can see that we're roughly...
Yeah, we're having some technical difficulties with Eric out there. We'll see if we can get back to him in a little bit. New tonight, one person was taken to the hospital following a two-car crash.
We are continuing to track a mixture between snow, sleet, and freezing rain moving into central New York. Roadways will be slippery as we head into tonight. It's a live look at our Utica National Tower Cam overlooking Cooperstown. The snow has come to an end across the southern valleys. It has switched over to sleet as we look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. The dividing line between snow and sleet right now is very close to the New York State Thruway. North of this line, it's steadily snowing, heavy at times across the Adirondacks, but as warm air works in from the south, it is going to shut the snow down here over the next couple of hours. In fact, we can get a pretty good idea of where precisely that line is by looking at an enhancement to the Doppler radar. It's called dual pole, and the leading edge of where where snow is turning over to sleet is happening right along the Oneida-Madison County line, extending into northern Otsego County. We go to the west, there's more precipitation on the way. But again, most of this going forward will be falling as sleet and freezing rain. So the snow accumulations are, for the most part, done across most of the area with the exception to the north. Your drive, if you are heading out tonight, it'll be icy. By the morning, though, the ice does come to an end. It's generally dry throughout the afternoon. So things do improve in a big way throughout the day tomorrow. Low pressure continues to drive our weather. Again, this is not just a snowmaker because winds are turning into the south and some of that warm air is working in aloft. Snowfall totals, again, this is mostly done from the Thruway and Point South. A couple of inches of accumulation, many areas getting about 2 to 3 inches. North of the Mohawk Valley, where the snow is going to take longer to make that transition, we're thinking 4, 5, 6 inches of accumulation before that snow turns over to sleet and freezing rain. Icy conditions overnight, sleet and freezing rain. Up until about 5 to 6 o'clock in the morning, and then things quiet down. In fact, most of your Thursday is looking dry. It's cloudy. We'll have a few light rain showers later in the day as a cold front arrives. It gets a lot colder here as we head into Friday. Looking at mostly cloudy skies, temperatures chilly, cold. Temperatures only in the teens to low 20s. Again, some ice accumulation expected tonight, especially east of Utica into the Mohawk Valley. Accumulations could be as much as 1/4 of an inch. Sleet, freezing rain overnight, a low temperature of 30 tomorrow. Looking at cloudy skies, a few rain and snow showers late in the day, high of 35. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast is windy and cold Friday, 20 for the high, light snow Saturday and Sunday. Not a whole lot of accumulation with either one of those weather systems. Monday is looking dry, rain and snow showers here for Tuesday. Jason.
All right, Bill, thank you. It's no longer a question. The National Weather Service confirms it was indeed an EF2 tornado that touched down in New Jersey. We're learning nearly 75 people are homeless as a result. Reporter Christine Sloan has that tonight.
Residents this afternoon cleaning up the huge mess left behind by the tornado that rolled through the Lawrence Square Village condo complex, as well as 2 other Mercer County communities. Red Cross officials say close to 27 families have been displaced, including Julia Muziani, her boyfriend, and 2 children.
We live in the apartments right there. Our building, the windows were broken, the roof got ripped off, the siding's off. So until they can see the extent of the damage and how long it will take, we have to evacuate.
The tornado moving in fiercely and suddenly. Dozens of massive trees uprooted, rooftops ripped out, and home sidings torn off.
The damage here at the Lawrence Square Village complex, it's pretty significant from the storm last night. I could tell you in February, it's not normal to have this type of damage.
In fact, since the 1950s, there have only been 4 tornadoes in New Jersey in February, the last one in 1999. We spoke to residents soon after the tornado touched down. They told us how they took cover.
I heard a big train sound, and then I went outside and all the trees were knocked over. I told them, get in the tub and shut the door.
Coming up next, a new TikTok challenge has some. I'm Jason Powers. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. The snow is well underway in most of the viewing area. We're hearing of several accidents on the scanners tonight, so if you do have to head out, please take your time. City of Utica has now got a snow emergency in effect right now. That means all cars have to be off the streets in order for snowplows and snow removal to get the job done. It's in effect until further notice. Let's check in right now with Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis on the very latest in this storm, Bill.
So the snow part of this storm is almost done. We're seeing a transition over to sleet and freezing rain across the area. With that being said, this is a look at total snow expected. Again, most of this is done in and south of the Mohawk Valley. Many areas picking up 1 or 2 inches of accumulation. A few more inches possible, 4 to 7 inches across the North Country, where it takes longer for this transition to take place. Here's where we stand this evening. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Again, snow continues in the Mohawk Valley and North Country, but heading south, we're seeing that sleet mixing in. That line just about ready to move into the Mohawk Valley as some milder air works in aloft. So again, most of this going forward falls as sleet and freezing rain. Current temperature is 30 degrees. Our weather headlines, again, it turns icy here overnight. The precipitation comes to an end as we head into tomorrow morning, and your morning commute will be a lot easier compared to if you plan on heading out tonight. Again, sleet and freezing rain, a low temperature of 30. We are tracking some more light snow chances in our future as we head into the weekend. Look at that forecast coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. Now, we've seen what it looks like on the radar, but how are the conditions for the next several hours? Our meteorologist Eric Gage is outside right now in the elements with an update on the snowfall and a lesson for accurately measuring the snow in your backyard. Good evening, Eric.
Good evening, Jason. Yes, I'm currently outside right now. I want to give an update on the snowfall. So for the past couple of hours, the snowfall has been coming down though the flakes, I should say, the size is rather small. Within the past 5 or so minutes, the flakes have gotten bigger, which means that warmer air is starting to move in. You see that just a couple of seconds ago. Now, along with this, too, I want to take a quick minute to mention how to accurately measure snowfall. If you do send in snowfall reports, they're greatly appreciated. So, one of the things you want to look out for is wind as well as location. So right now, right next to the building, in fact, right up here in Smith Hill, and you can see that right next to the building, snow is a little bit higher on the ground. Now, if I take a measurement close to the building, I'm actually measuring up here in Smith Hill just around 3 or so inches. Now, if I move it further away from the building, you can actually see the measurement right around 1 inch or so. So wind plays an important role. So how do you accurately measure snowfall? Well, what you want to do is try to avoid having wind or buildings be influencing factors. So if you try to find a place that is away from a building, preferably in the middle of an open area such as a table, or if you want find a place that where the wind is not affecting, as well as possibly taking measurements underneath trees. You don't want to have that happen because that'll lower the total a little bit too. So for right now, we are still measuring up here on Smith Hill in between 2.5 to 3 inches. So at the most part, this is just before the sleet is starting to move through. I can actually feel it hitting my face right now. Some sharp ice hitting my face. It's currently a little bit painful right now, but I'll send it right back into you guys.
All right, Eric, thanks so much for the lesson, and get inside where it's warm. Thank you. New tonight, one person was taken to the...
Good evening, Central New York. We continue to track a wintry mix moving through Central New York. More than half the area has turned over to sleet and freezing rain. One place is Cooperstown. This is a live look at our Utica National Tower Cam. Once the transition takes place, the snow accumulation comes to an end, and going forward, we'll be seeing an ice accumulation. Here's a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Again, many areas are seeing widespread precipitation. It is dry south of Route 20, at least for now, and we can track that leading edge of where snow is turning over to sleet. This bright yellow indicates the leading edge, so it's just starting to work into Utica as it works into the north and east. By the way, this imagery is an upgrade that was done to our radar a few years ago. This is called dual pol, and it's an enhancement. It allows us to see specific changes in terms of snow, sleet, and freezing rain. It's really helpful on a night like tonight. We look to the west and we see more precipitation heading in our direction, and as warmer air continues to work in from the southwest, a changeover entirely over to sleet and freezing rain takes place across the North Country too as we head into tonight. If you're traveling tonight, plan on icy conditions. Again, snow accumulation mainly done for most of the area, but again, it will be icy overnight with sleet and freezing rain accumulation. Dry tomorrow morning and dry throughout tomorrow afternoon with a few showers arriving in the evening. So the drive to work tomorrow, if you're heading out early, should be fine. Just watch out on secondary roads, sidewalks, driveways. Untreated surfaces could be slippery, again, with that sleet and freezing rain overnight. To the west we go. An area of low pressure will be driving our weather as we head into tonight. Again, we're expecting this to turn over to sleet and freezing rain. Total snowfall before that transition, most areas only picking up an inch or two of accumulation, 2 to 4 inches, I should say, from the Mohawk Valley and points south. And again, most of this is already done accumulating. North of the valley, a few more inches of accumulation before that changeover takes place as we head into the next couple of hours. Tonight, sleet, freezing rain. Temperatures remain below freezing. The sleet and freezing rain comes to an end tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. We're looking at generally dry weather across the area, and it's a cloudy afternoon with temperatures near or just below freezing for most of the day. A round of some rain and snow showers takes place tomorrow evening as a cold front arrives. It gets a lot colder and windy as we head into Friday. Friday, we start out at 8 a.m. with temperatures in the teens, and highs on Friday afternoon only climb into the upper teens to low 20s. Again, sleet, freezing rain accumulates tonight. Watch out for slippery spots, especially east of Utica. The Mohawk Valley could see as much as 1/4 of an inch of ice accumulation. Sleet, freezing rain tonight, low of 30 tomorrow. Again, mostly cloudy skies, a few light rain and snow showers late, high of 35. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Windy and cold Friday, a high of 20. Some light snow showers over the weekend, both Saturday and Sunday. Dry Monday, and then a mix of some rain and snow possible Tuesday. Jason.
Bill, thank you. Around America, it's no longer a question. The National Weather Service has confirmed it was an EF2 tornado that touched down in New Jersey, and we're learning nearly 75 people are homeless as a result. Reporter Christine Sloan has that tonight.
Residents this afternoon cleaning up the huge mess left behind by the tornado that rolled through the Lawrence Square Village condo complex, as well as 2 other Mercer County communities. Red Cross officials say close to 27 families have been displaced, including Julia Muziani, her boyfriend, and 2 children.
We live in the apartments right there, our building. The windows were broken, the roof got ripped off, the siding's off. So until they can see the extent of the damage and how long it will take, we have to evacuate.
The tornado moving in fiercely and suddenly. Dozens of massive trees uprooted, rooftops ripped out, and home sidings torn off.
The damage here at the Lawrence Square Village complex, it's pretty significant from the storm last night. I could tell you in February, it's not normal to have this type of damage.
In fact, since the 1950s, there have only been 4 tornadoes in New Jersey in February, the last one in 1999. We spoke to residents soon after the tornado touched down. They told us how they took cover.
I heard a big train sound, and then I went outside and all the trees were knocked over. I told them, get in the tub and shut the door.
Coming up next, a new TikTok challenge.